In the measure table, the grant recipient needs to break down the capital cost of this batch into the various measures that are to be installed. So for example, we've already got flat roof insulation. This is a grade A energy efficiency measure. There's 3 of these that are being installed for a total cost of £9,000 and an average cost of £3,000. To add a measure to the measures table, click the Add button in the bottom left corner. Select the measure grade from the drop down, which can be either A, B or C, and the measure type. This can be either energy efficiency or low carbon heat. Specify the number of this measure that is to be installed and the total cost for this measure. This process needs to be repeated for all measures in a batch. The average measure cost is an average cost of a specific measure over the whole project. This is calculated by summing the cost of this measure and the number of this measure with the historic data for the cost and the number of measures, and then dividing the sum of the cost by the sum of the measures to get an average cost. If the cost does not meet the value for money conditions, it will require an additional check by the delivery partner, or may even be rejected. In addition to this, the HUG2 policy requires that at least 60% of all measure costs, that is, the sum of all measure spending for previous batches and inclusive of the current batch, be spent on Grade A measures. Grade C measures should account for no more than 10% of the sum of all measure spending. If either of these thresholds are broken, then an amber flag is raised. As this is the first batch in the project, if I add a Grade C measure that costs £8,000, then a flag will be raised, as Grade A spending will be below the minimum threshold, and Grade C spending will be over the maximum threshold. A flag may also be raised when a measure selected as part of the application is not pre-approved. Not all measure options have been pre-approved for use in the scheme, but are listed as options on the measure table. When one of these forms part of the application, the LA will need to provide justification for their choice of measures and why they represent value for money. Any flags raised as part of the issues of the form can be overridden, subject to DEP review and approval.